G'day everyone, it's Shadow back again. Just doing another subordinate city tutorial, this time on using them to attack with and defending. So with your subordinate cities, you can assign them generals, and depending on the general you assign depends on the subordinate city power. So if you have a look at your generals, so the generals I'm using at the moment are Saladin, Nero, Gustavus, Robert Lee, Genghis Khan, Oda, another Nero, Rhaegar, and that's it. There's some generals that make better subordinate city generals than others, and I'll go into why in a minute. But if you have a look at someone like Nero, so my Nero is 500,000 power. His power actually gets added to the subsidy, and that's what the general in it determines the power of the subsidy quite a lot, not just the troops that it creates. So the stronger generals you put in, the stronger the subsidy power, which makes the subsidy stronger in attack and defense. We just have a quick look at an attack screen. So you can see here, this is the subsidy power. So the ones like Nero, there's his 500,000. The other strong ones I've got Gustavus, Saladin. And I'm just going to show you the effect that they have when you're using them or not. So you can see down here, March power 16 mil. If I deselect these, you can see that as I deselect them, the March power drops. So you actually lose March power by taking out your subs, and again, you gain it back when you put your subs back on. So without subs, my March power is 13.4, and with all my subordinates selected, it's up to 16.1. So I'm just going to do a bit of an attack here just to show you a base attack without any subordinate cities, and then we'll start adding them in to show you the effect they have. So that was an attack, no subordinate cities, and I'll just do another one. I'll just include one of my subordinate cities. So I'm going to keep my my Nero on, just because I want to show you something about Nero's abilities. Alrighty, so first things first. So here's our two attacks. First one without subordinate cities, and we can check that if we go down, battle detail. So you can see that attacker is myself, and defender is the person I attacked. There's no subordinate cities or anything listed in there. It's just got Prince Rhaegar as a general. Go on to this one. Firstly, you'll see that there's a subordinate city section now, which tells you how many troops subordinate city sent, my subordinate city power in total, and also lists in your report the subordinate city, who the general was, and a bit of stats about the troops that were in there. One thing I want you to look at, and one thing that a lot of people don't realize, is that some generals apply buffs from a subordinate city. So someone like Nero, if we go into the general, sorry, wrong one. If we have a look at Nero, he has a skill called Bloodlust, which reduces enemy troops' HP by 10% when the general is leading the army. That's a bit misleading, because he doesn't have to be leading the army to use that skill. So we have a look at our reports. We go down to enemy troop HP. You can see that on the attack without Nero, the enemy troop HP is nothing. So there's no modifier to that. But if we go into the one where I did use Nero, you can see there that his skill's working. So even though he's not leading the army and is just on a subsidy, his skill still carries across. Which makes Nero a very good subordinate city general, because you can still use his main skill in addition to your normal marching general skills. One thing I found is that anyone with a debuff skill, this works with. So just to show another example, again I'll attack with no one, but this time I'll leave Gustavus on, which is the new event general. So we go into our reports, and you can see there enemy range troop defense minus 10%, enemy siege machine defense minus 10%. So you can see that that's his skill working there. It's important to note if we look at the general first, so I can show you what his skill is. So his skill is increases your range troops siege machines by attack by 10% and reduces enemy range troops by 10% and siege. So it should add 10% to yours and take 10% away from theirs. But if you have a look at it in a subsidy, go back to our base one. So range troop attack is 400. Siege machine attack is 327. If you look in here, it's gone up 3% from the inclusion of the subsidy, but really if it was using his skill it should go up 13%. And same with the siege machine, it's gone up 3% from the subsidy, but the 10% increase is not there. So generals with attack increases or stat increases do not carry across their skills to a subsidy attack, but they do carry across their debuffs. So anyone with a debuff should be placed on a subsidy. And another one that I want to show you. These again. This time I'll leave on Robert Lee and Sladen. Oh, that's marching. So Sladen's skill turns defending enemy troops wounded into dead. And Robert Lee's increases your death turning wounded rate. So he saves your troops from being killed, turns them into wounded, and Saladin turns enemy wounded into dead. We have a look at the report. It hasn't shown up because there's no troops that I killed. But if there was troops that I was killing, you'd see that Saladin's skill and Robert Lee's skill also carries across from subordinate cities. So there are another two good generals to put on subordinate cities. So using subordinate cities to attack defend with. If you have a look at the cities themselves, you'll see that there's two green sliders down here. Automatic fight for other cities and a separate reinforcements for other cities. These are very important to watch out for. What these mean, automatic fight for other cities, if your main city is attacked, or if any other subordinate city is attacked, it means that troops from the subordinate city will send to defend that other city. So, for example, if my main city is under attack and that's turned off, it means that none of these troops will help defend. They'll just they'll just stay here and not join in the battle. Whereas if it's turned on, then all those troops would send across to my main city to help defend it. So that one there you can pretty much always leave on. That's fine. It doesn't affect your main city much, but it does help you in a bit of extra defense in case you need it. The really important one is this one down here, a separate reinforcement from other cities. If you're small enough that you can be solo hit, that should always be turned off. Because what happens is if you leave that turned on and you're attacked, all your troops from your main city will send to the sub-city to try and defend it. And if you're attacked by a big player, that can completely wipe out all your troops in your main city. By turning that off, it means that if your bubble drops or your shield drops and your sub-city gets attacked, it won't kill the troops in your main city. Once you're big enough that you can't be solo hit, you can turn that on. So subordinate cities can't be rallied; they can only be solo hit. So once you're big enough to withstand a solo hit, turn that on, and it means that if anyone does try and attack it, they're going to run into your entire army, and then you'll wipe them out pretty easily. Another thing that this is useful for is trapping people. So if you leave that turned off, they'll do a small hit on your subordinate city, see if it's linked, and then they'll try and steal it from you. And while they're trying to steal it from you, you can get your main city reinforced, and you can turn that on, and then you'll wipe out all the troops that are attacking the sub-city. So it's a good little trap. So we'll just have a quick look. Again, subordinate city power. I'm just going to do an attack with all my subordinate cities. So you can see. Sorry, wrong report. subordinate city. One subordinate city gives me 554,000 subordinate city power, whereas if I use all of my subordinate cities, it gives me 2.6 million subordinate city power. I can actually increase that as well, and you can also have a look. My monarch power at the moment is 54.9 mil. If I go into my subordinate cities and change some generals around, so I'll get rid of Oda. And now I'll replace him with Washington. And now I'll get rid of Genghis. And I'll replace Bhutan. So you can see that my monarch power has gone up because my subordinate city's power has increased, and that adds into my monarch power. And now if I do an attack with all my subs, so this is the last one, just have a quick look again, 2.68 mil, and just by changing the generals around, I've now increased my subordinate city power to 3.4 mil. So I always do that depending if I'm defending or attacking or just killing monsters, so I use Washington and Jamong mainly to kill monsters with, but if I do need to go into battle, I'll put them on my subs to enhance my subsidy power to give me a bit of extra attack increase. So that's pretty much it for using subsidies in attacking and defending. So the sub power also, if you're defending and your subs are linked using those two green sliders, your subordinate city power will also help defend you, and your general buffs will also help in defense as well. So just a quick recap. Any generals that you want on subsidies, they should have debuffs. So I'll just quickly show you Nero. Because he's always going to be a subordinate city, I use his Bloodlust to come across for attacking and defending, but then I've just given him the standard subordinate city other skills. He's not going to be used for anything else other than subordinate city, so he's perfectly fine to have those skills. Whereas someone like Washington, who I'm using for monsters, I don't want to give him subordinate skills because they're a waste, and his main skill doesn't carry across, so he's not the best sub general, but because of his power, I put him on the sub just to increase that if I'm attacking or defending. That pretty much sums it up. Thank you very much.